Friday, March 15th. Today is Dumbstruck Day. I thought that said Drumstick Day. I was all excited, drumsticks, but it's Dumbstruck Day. Dumbstruck Day takes place on March 15th. If you're dumbstruck, you are so shocked you are unable to speak. You can see Dumbstruck Day to be a dumbstruck all over, shocking your eyes, hear, read, and smell. You know, I was thinking of when have I ever been dumbstruck, besides school? And mostly, there's some things, shocking things in the world, but for the most times in my life, when I've ever been dumbstruck is when a cute girl talks to me first. That I just completely dumbstruck. Also, National Everything You Think Is Wrong Day. Boy, isn't that the truth for me lately. So sometimes we're all vulnerable and are not always right. It's a special day to recognize that everyone has a bad day once in a while, and it can even happen to you. It is True Confessions Day. If you have a confession, now is the time to do it. It's probably it says, that's the reason it's religious. It helps clear things up from your chest, whatever. I think we had Mild Confessions Day a few weeks ago on this show. And one of the funny things I thought was my brother texted me like, hey, I got one. And him and his buddy Roger, they're in junior high. And during the Bucks games, they would each throw a peanut butter, don't do this at home, please, peanut butter M&M on the basketball court. And whoever's got crushed first loses. Sorry, don't do that. That's horrible. Horrible. That was his mild confession. This day in history. Now, 2018, toy chain Toys R Us announced it would close all its stores after filing bankruptcy. Oh, I miss Toys R Us. We used to go to Billings. That was like the greatest store. And my brother, who saved his money after going to McDonald's, he would be able to buy G.I. Joes. But I would spend all my money on McDonald's cookies. And by the time we got to Toys R Us, I was always jealous that he had his allowance money for the divisionals to buy G.I. Joes, and I had nothing. I could only window shop. And nothing's changed ever since then, by the way. Let's see. 1938, oil was discovered in Saudi Arabia. Money, that changed the world. 1937, the first blood bank opened in Chicago. Isn't Chicago where Al Capone was? I don't know when. That's things about. What if Al Capone and his mafia robbed the bank and they robbed the blood bank? That would be on April 1st. That would be a good one. In 1892, the escalator was patented. And I always think of the great comedian Mitch Hedberg. There is no such thing as escalator because when it breaks, it just becomes stairs. Well, let's see. Other news, we've got Antarctic Post Office now hiring. Oh, that's so cool. Oh, that sounds interesting. This story, that sounds, when all said and done, I think that's like goes to like when I'm 65 years old and I've had enough, I'm going to Antarctic Post Office. This story pops up every couple of years, and here it is again, the world's southernmost post office. The world's southernmost post in Antarctica is seeking 3 new employees to spend 4 months sorting mail and counting penguins. The post office is located in Britain's Port Lockroy base on Goodyear Island. It needs workers from November this year until March 2025. The workers' duties will include sorting through letters and postcards, selling stamps, running a small gift shop, and keeping count of the local colony of about 1,500 penguins. I wonder if these postmen carry mace for biting dogs, or do they carry mace for biting penguins or polar bears up there down low, wrong end. The post office processes are up to 80,000 letters and postcards each year. Hey, Dave, send some postcards to Dave the South Pole. I'm trying to think of some South Pole jokes right on the spot. Why does I'm thinking a postcard from Dave would be, why does the Earth why do we have so much strange weather going on? Why is it so up and down? Because the Earth is bipolar. There we go. That's my letters from Dave joke on the spot. Applicants must be residents of the United Kingdom. Oh, well, I'm going to stop right there. It just broke my heart. I'm not from England. Okay, let's go to the next story. Pittsburgh Penguins Jaeger bobblehead stolen. Okay, the Pittsburgh Penguins on Thursday announced that someone had stolen a truckload of Jaromir Jagr bobbleheads. Sorry to you hockey fans, I butchered Jagr. He's a great hockey player. Jagr bobbleheads that were to be given away at fans' Thursday night's game against the San Jose Sharks. They probably thought they were Jaeger, a truck full of Jaeger instead of a truck full of Yager bobbleheads. I need a snare and a rim shot here for these horrible jokes. Okay, president of the business operations, Kevin Ackland, said, "We were shocked to be a victim of cargo theft. We are working closely with local and federal authorities on the investigation. The team said all fans in attendance will receive a voucher that includes a one-time scannable barcode that will be required to pick up their bobblehead at a later date." Speaking of my friend Dave, I talk to him about him all the time. During his wholesome bachelor's party, I made, this is when the internet was going to get going. I ordered a bobblehead of Dave, actually, and it was from overseas. And when it came, it looked nothing like him, but it was still pretty funny. Closet culprit. Know why so many women's closets are overstuffed? This is from the Give It Up, the book by Mary Carlo Magano. They hold on to their skinny clothes, in parentheses, too long. Women who haven't worn a size 8 dress in 15 years often hang on to the clothes they loved in their 20s. It's kind of a fantasy. Now, they're afraid to get rid of their skinny clothes because that's admitting they'll never be that thin again. And you should not discriminate against just women. I do the same thing. My clothes, I've got a closet full of pre-COVID pants. So it's not just them. I call it, the COVID-19 epidemic. I call it the COVID-16 because I gained 16 pounds in 3 weeks just sitting there watching tiger movies and Bulls films and eating cauliflower pizzas. And let me tell you, just because it's a cauliflower crust, that doesn't mean anything. I found that out the hard way, and I hope someday to get back into those pants. We got St. Patrick's Day. We have St. Patrick's Day here in a couple days, and that's leprechauns are part of the St. Patrick's Day tradition. But apparently they're not like the Lucky Charms we grew up on, which is another sad thing. I'm realizing as I get older that nothing's real, nothing's as I thought. My whole world's a lie. Leprechauns are unwelcome. Leprechauns are the unwelcomed offspring of the fairy community. This is according to the FaxNet source. Stories claim that leprechauns are solitary, untrusting, and grouchy creatures. That's because they are the rejected children of fairies. And what is fairies? Is that in parentheses? Is that just like back in the old times? Was it just families that, let's leave him out in the clover fields and mate where the rainbows are and hopefully get your pots of gold? Oh, I was so close to going to the store and getting Lucky Charms today too, just for St. Patrick's Day once a year. Another sad fact, leprechauns aren't happy. Oh, well, let's do some postcards from Dave. In fact, I am videoing for the first time. Maybe I'll post these on YouTube or something like that. And, I can see the bags under my eyes from waking up so early and being so tired. But now video, maybe you can see the look on my face when I push these wrong buttons. And maybe when I push the wrong buttons, it'll get rid of these bags because my eyes will just get so big. But I'm going to start putting, here's postcards from Dave. I'm going to show them here. Okay, here. We've got it's another nice bridge video. Came here one day last year and some nice purple lights shining off the full moon of the river. All right, can I see that? I'm just showing it. Sorry, I'm showing it in the video. I'm messing up your life here. Okay, so it just says, "Dear Dave, we only use 2% of our DNA. That means we are 98% worthless." All right. And by the way, since the video, I better say one more time that Dave is my buddy from kindergarten, and he's not on social media, and it's wonderful. He still lives in 1987, and he's been sending me postcards for years of his own pictures. And usually, not all jokes, but I just read the jokes to you in the air. And they're great to get mail in the air. You can still get snail mail. Anyway, here's a picture of a leaf. Oh, there's a black spider on there. There's a black spider on there with that, and the leaf looks like a banana. And oh, it's on a black pond. It's nice. Okay, black. I'm sure there's art in here, and it says, "Dear Dave, when choosing whom to work on your home, always choose the roofer with the best tan, the carpenter with the least amount of fingers, and the plumber with the biggest crack." I want to read that again, actually. All right. One more. This is a butterfly. Oh, it's a tree in California with a bunch of butterflies. Wish we had butterflies. They all seem to disappear here over the last 20 years, Montana. At least I haven't seen them. All right. Dear Dave, the best advice Sylvester Stallone personally gave me was the not name drop. Name drop. Pretty good. Pretty good. That was Postcards from Dave. Well, let's see. HowStuffWorks.com, we swear. In the Western English-speaking world, people from every race, class, and level of education swear. In America, 72% of men and 58% of women swear in public. I learned a lot about swearing right out of college. I tell this story about those fishing there. You ever heard the term cuss like a sailor? Or is it swear like a sailor? Anyway, it's true. Boy, I tell you what, I was on my first job as a biologist, fishing on the fishing boats in Dutch Harbor, and I got on this boat, and it was almost a separate language. They used the swear words. It was like an F-bomb for your verb, for your nouns, for your pronouns, and somehow they just spoke in boom, 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 boom. Every now and then they'd do a real word, but mostly it's just those words, and somehow they communicated with each other. And it took a little while. Like sometimes I go to South America, and when I go there, I don't know Spanish very well, but I swear I pick it up real fast. So I was able to speak this sailor language real fast, but I would use freaking, and they'd start laughing at me. Oh, look at this guy. So I got zero street cred on the boats. And then, and I heard, I don't know, but I think like part of their secret to this secret swearing language was the Chinese. In the Chinese language, I guess some words are the same words, but it depends on your dialect. They mean different things. Like if you say real low or high, I don't know. That's what I heard. And I think these sailors have that same thing with these swear words. And then later on, I heard I'll never forget it. I was up at the wheelhouse, and I told this story, I think it was yesterday or 2 days ago, about the drunk captain who took us out to sea. He was drunk as a skunk, and lives were in danger, but what do you do? And I couldn't remember his name, and I still can't. I feel like it's Simon, starts with an S. Anyway, it's bugging me for 2 days. I can't remember his name, but I was up there trying to, I got seasick all the time, so I'm just trying to stare on the horizon not to get seasick. And all of a sudden, the biggest, scariest, loudest swear bomb that I've ever heard in my life. It shook me. I got shivers. I got shivers right now. And I go, what? What? And he looked to the right, and there are two huge dorsal fins of killer whales swimming side by side to the right of us. And that leads to a whole nother story. But the reason he swore so much, because these whales robbed thousands and thousands of dollars from these poor fishermen. Well, they're poor after, because they would just bite them right off their line. So a little bit nice spring weather coming up here. Well, how about a rare four-leaf clover? Got St. Patrick's Day coming up. St. Patrick's Day is this Sunday. Some people use the day to look for luck and treasure. They go on lengthy search for a leprechaun, and it's a pot of gold, or go hunting for four-leaf clovers. What are the odds for four-leaf clovers? A four-leaf clover is extremely rare. To find the odds, about 10,000 to 1. It turns out you're more likely to get in a car accident that day than to find one. So there are no odds of finding a leprechaun. They don't exist. Oh, if you've ever ridden the bus from Bismarck to Seattle, you've seen about 5 leprechauns. But anyway, yeah, so it's odd. You're more likely to get in a car accident than finding a leprechaun. And so, do you know what happens if you get in a car accident on St. Patrick's Day? You got to go to O'Reilly Auto Parts. And do you know the most common why the car accident on St. Patrick's Day? Oh shoot, I missed it. Yeah, they didn't go on a green light. That's it. They were green light. Do I wish I had any more car accident on St. Patrick's Day jokes? I wish. Well, I have this buddy. He's Jewish. That's neither here nor there. It's just part of culture, and we have a good time. Sometimes we make jokes about it because we joke about everything, not just that. And actually, we did this DNA, the 23andMe. I did that a few years ago, and it came back as me 14% Jewish. And I told him, and he was so excited. And I told him, he said, well, yeah, so now instead of celebrating Hanukkah, I just celebrate Ha, because I'm 14%. And he gave me, of course, he gave me several ha-ha-has for that. And, instead of 8 days for Christmas, though, I only have one. Anyway, we joke a lot. And he sent me this the other day, and I thought it was interesting. So I'm going to read this to you. This is the secret Jewish history of corned beef and cabbage, since we have St. Patrick's Day coming in on the 17th. So the story goes, this is written by Shannon Sarna. The classic dish for St. Patrick's Day actually has Jewish roots. Corned beef and cabbage is as quintessentially Irish as the Jewish deli, ? No, but really, corned beef and cabbage may be considered the most iconic dish to enjoy on St. Patrick's Day for its Irish roots. But actually, the dish came from the Jews, more specifically, the Jewish New York deli. Jewish, Italian, and Irish immigrants lived side by side in many of the poorer New York neighborhoods in the early 20th century, especially on the Lower East Side of Manhattan, as well as certain areas of Brooklyn and the Bronx. Just like Jewish newcomers who adapted many of their beloved foods from the old country, the other immigrant groups were doing the same thing. Hello, New York pizza. Back in Ireland, there's a traditional dish of bacon and cabbage, and while corned beef did exist, most people stuck with pork, not beef, due to its low cost. But when Irish immigrants saw the salty, cured corned beef their Jewish neighbors were enjoying, it reminded them of their own comfort food. A Westchester magazine explains, when the Irish immigrated to the U.S., they often faced discrimination and lived in slums alongside groups like the Jews and Italians. It was at Jewish delis and lunch carts that the Irish experienced corned beef and noticed its similarity to Irish bacon. Cooking with corned beef with cabbage was another choice based on cost efficiency. Even better, the entire meal could be cooked in one pot, making the dish cheap, easy to make, and let's not forget, tasty. So, corned beef and cabbage was basically one of the first one-pot wonders that Americans came to love. And let's be honest, corned beef and cabbage just had a better ring to it than bacon and cabbage. As a result of shared immigrant experiences, a new American Jewish-Irish dish was born. Meanwhile, back in Ireland, the most traditional dish to eat on St. Patrick's Day remains lamb or bacon. According to the Smithsonian Magazine, the popularity of corned beef and cabbage never traveled back across the Atlantic to the homeland. So there you have it, a little Jewish history to go with your St. Patrick's Day celebration. In light of the history of corned beef and cabbage, I see the holiday more than ever as a celebration of our diversity and shared immigrant experiences. Thank you, Chuck, for sending that to me. That was very interesting.